Hello there, everybody. My name is Force Direct, and welcome back to yet another awesome podcast. I am joined today with my good friend, as always, PowerCore 2000. How you doing?
Hello. I found a friend in my basement. He's my pet now.
Little red squishy. And we are doing, once again, the Data Upload podcast. But today is extra special because we're joined by two fantastic little boys, as you can see them over there. We don't have our portals on today because I couldn't figure out how to get those around everybody and still make them look good. But we are joined by Darnell.
Hi, it's me, Darnell.
And Tanhony.
On your left.
Well, stage left. You're right. It's all right. Tanhony gets confused. From Discovering SCP podcast.
It's British directions are different.
Oh god.
Australia who got all weird.
Yeah, because
flipped upside down. Yeah.
Look, let's just be fair and say anyone who's not in America is strange. Okay? I just said it.
Agreed.
Isolate the global audience. I love it. See,
exactly. We are all Americans here, except for Tanhony.
Sorry, Europeans. Yeah, we're just here to make fun of Tanhony. That's why you're here, Tanhony.
Hold on, Tanhony's not European. Tanhony's British.
Hey, this is British.
They're not European.
Oh my god.
I'll make one giant American joke and then I'll stop bullying my brother Euro.
Awesome.
All right.
But yes,
so,
very excited to be here. Thank you for having us. I am excited to delve into what you've got in store for us today.
Yes.
I'm super excited. So, what we're going to do today is you guys have both brought some of your own articles and or SCPs that we're going to read, just like we normally do. And the way it's going to start is we're going to start with Tanhony. We're going to be going a bit short today because it's pretty late for Tanhony being in the Great British space. So
you took all the fucking hours with them.
Yeah, you got to get the same. So we're going to try.
So bad.
We're going to try not to go on tangents too much. I can't promise anything.
Cool. I'll promise we still will.
Sorry, I always treat when my stream starts like after it started. So the first 2 minutes of all my streams are just like me hunched over my phone.
Oh, I understand that completely.
The first hours of ours is technical difficulties.
Beautiful, I love it.
Usually we have like a 30-minute tangent like this that then just ends up being... Usually it gets into like some sort of weird, deep thing. Half the time it gets cut out because it's like, okay, this is... I got onto like abusive family because I had abusive parents growing up. So I'm like, okay, that's a little too dark for YouTube and Spotify. So we're going to cut that out. But if you guys want to see some deep personal scarring content, you can go watch the VOD over on twitch.tv/ForceDirect.
And uncut. All trauma
that is raw. Holy shit.
But yeah, I'm a very open book. Some people like to call me naive. It's not naivety. I know full well that people know far more about me than they should. But whatever. Tanhony, you should have, in theory, if we read the thing and everybody was prepared, an SCP or something for us that you can link in chat that we can read.
Absolutely. I went for a bit of a classic. I think there's a temptation with this, to like go for a big scary SCP monster that the guys can fight. So I went a little bit different with old Bubble the Clown, who is not like a physical guy.
I was so hoping this is where we were going to go.
Oh my god, it is Bobo the Clown.
Brilliant.
So Bubble the Clown is well, why don't you, Tanhony, since you're the one who brought this with us, why don't you tell us who this is by? Tell us what the SCP number is.
It's SCP-993 by yours truly, Mr. Tanhony.
One thing you might appreciate, I'm going to interrupt Tanhony's introduction, is if you look at the rating, I know this is a podcast where we're uploading things for our friend PowerCore. The rating is leet, 1337, so it does fit the gamer theme.
It is leet, so leet. That's so good.
Bubble is a gamer, after all.
I'm just going to screenshot that. It's perfect. This must be immortalized. Oh no, it's been immortalized on my face.
Now you are, Bubble.
Yes, so why don't you go ahead and read, Tanhony? You'll read through the procedures, and then Darnell will take over on the description as we go round the table.
No problem at all. Item number, SCP-993. Object class safe, or SAFE. Special containment procedures. Any broadcasts, the fuck is a broadcast? Any broadcasts of SCP-993 to be intercepted as detailed in Protocol Upsilon Beta 3 and blocked from public viewing. All intercepted broadcasts are to be recorded and stored for future viewing.
This guy said broadcasts twice.
The second one will have this. Any subjects used to view
this is a Safe space. We don't judge for mispronunciations here, right?
Fucking lie! Oh my god! I'm surprised you lied that blatantly.
To that at all, even if it was true. I'm making fun of Tanhony.
That's fine. I do it to PowerCore all the time.
Like a month ago, Mr. Tanhony.
But continue, Tanhony.
Any subjects used to view SCP-993 must be under the age of 10 to be judged with a Class A amnestic after they've described the episode.
It says amnesiac.
It does say amnesiac, I think you'll find.
It's because he wrote this
amnestic.
I understand. Your monitors are actually smudged. It says what I say it says.
Really?
Wow. SCP-993 must be authorized by free level 4 personnel.
Word 3 or letter 3?
Just by the way, we 100% stole that from you guys.
Royalties.
Saying the word and the letter bit. I didn't steal anything, okay? I had no knowledge of possession before theft.
Yeah, no, he has no idea. I've watched all of your...
It's just like a bit that has probably existed since the beginning of time. So
I know, but you're the ones who I heard use it, so I stole it from you, and then PowerCore stole it from me, so inadvertently it's been stolen from me.
As long as you don't steal my hacking NFTs, we're good to go.
That was the next thing I was going to steal.
Damn.
Alright. So Darnell, description.
Oh yeah, that was my job. SCP-993 is a children's television program entitled Bubble the Clown, which first began airing in September 4th, 1998. SCP-993 seems to have been made in the style of an educational cartoon, with the primary plot of most episodes being the titular character, Bobble the Clown, learning a new skill or activity. The program appears to have no supporting cast, and the setting of the program often changes between episodes. SCP-993 is a... You are Bubble the Clown? Damn.
I'm starting to have this existential crisis. Please continue while I implode in on myself.
No problem, friendo. SCP-993's anomalous properties become obvious when the program is viewed. No, they don't. Don't people, like, fucking knock out when they're over 10 years old? How's that obvious, Tan?
What do you mean? That's obvious. They get knocked out. You can't fucking miss it.
Out. That does seem pretty obvious. It's like...
I guess. Anyone watching age 10 years or older will immediately fall unconscious when the program begins. How does the range on that work? Like, do you have to see it or hear it, or is there like a cutoff range where you're good to go?
C/hear.
Anyone watching age 10 years... So you could examine it as an agent by just turning your face away or turning the audio off.
Oh, you have to do both, because I think if you get either, you would still be affected.
Yeah.
I see. SCP-993 is... anyone watching age 10 years or older will immediately fall unconscious when the program begins and will remain incapacitated until the end of the program, later reporting a stabbing headache immediately before blacking out. Children under the age of 10 viewing SCP-993 later report that it teaches and advocates activities such as cannibalism, murder, torture, and data expunge. What happens if you were born on a leap year? Because you know how some weirdos who are born on leap years are like, I'm only 5. Do they get a free pass?
Bubble appears on the screen with photorealistic bleeding eyes and kills you.
Well, alright, so just don't be born on a leap year.
They get creepypasta.
Born on the leap day.
I was going to say, in theory, Bobble detects their chronological age, not necessarily what I say my age is. Because otherwise you'd have agents saying, I'm 5 years old, actually.
And now for the extreme edge case, if someone was put in space and thus aged at a different rate. By our metrics, they would be 10, but by their metrics, they're 1,000 years old.
What we're gonna get into someone who's like 9 years old, but they fall into a coma for 20 years where they don't develop at all, and then they wake up.
And it's a chronological age. Doesn't matter, like mentally, how old you are.
What about like AI?
I don't fucking know, dude.
I'm sorry, I'm putting you through the ringer on this article you wrote when you were like 14.
We're not even discovered SCP.
This article that he wrote over a third of his life ago.
Yeah.
Exactly. You need to be judged harshly for it.
Over a third of my life. These activities appear to become ingrained in the subject's mind. Repeated exposure to 993 can result in permanent psychotic and schizophrenic symptoms. Episodes of 993 are regularly broadcast from a currently unknown source, but since January 22nd, 2022, all broadcasts have been successfully intercepted using protocol Upsilon Beta 3 and blocked from public viewing. So one thing this kind of reminds me of is, I can't remember the name of the experiment or the details, but I remember experiment where they like showed a bunch of children like clips of like people like beating up clowns, and then they like beat up a clown toy. Do you know what I'm talking about? And when they showed kids a normal cartoon, they were nice to the clown toy. Yeah, and that kind of is the vibes I get from Bobble. Like they're exposed to the violent imagery, so they become more violent.
That was a real experiment too.
Yeah, this was. Let me find this experiment.
The thing is, like,
kids beat up clown doll.
Yeah, there's a lot of these experiments that people also then point to as like reasons why media makes people more violent. So,
Man and Bobo, here it is.
Oh damn! Was that actually your inspiration, Tanhony, or was it just coincidental?
That was coincidental.
I mean, it was named Bobo instead of Bobble, but yeah, basically they would like show these kids a video of an adult beating the shit out of the toy, and then they would get really violent with the toy, sometimes even worse than what they were shown. Whereas when they were nice to the toy, the kids would like hug the toy and be good to it, and it was like to show how impressionable kids were or something.
Yeah,
maybe not the most ethical experiment, but
they should have taken it up a notch, brought an actual clown in.
I actually thought it was a real clown the first time when he got beaten up.
It's like a. I don't want to say blow up doll because that has a weird implication, but like a bag, and then there's a clown drawn on it.
Here's the funny thing. Doll for me just has weird implications in general because of some of the relationships I've been in. So removing the blow up doesn't change it any. I have promised myself that I'm not going to be too explicit on this. But
I didn't prompt you for that. You can't blame me for this tangent. You dug this hole entirely yourself.
No one could get me to admit that.
I will ask the question first. Would you like to hear the not necessarily explicit in terms of anything dirty, but the reason?
The answer's no, but I can tell you when to tell it, so I won't stop you.
You're fine. I'm not gonna tell it. Your comfort is more important to me than me telling a potentially uncomfortable story.
I'm a big boy. Go for it. If you really want.
Where were we? You just finished up this whole thing.
We were on the episode log. I don't want to read all this though because it's like long. So
your turn.
Yes.
Get ready to mock.
I've been slapped. I must now read, and I must also re-click. Damn! I missed the episode log. I didn't know that was clickable. Episode title and the contents. Bubble's kitchen surprise. The setting of episode is a stereotypical small American town. In the episode, Bobble the Clown appears to kidnap one of the town citizens and takes him to his home. Once there, Bobble informs the viewer on how to prepare human flesh for consumption, then proceeds to skin, gut, and cook the citizen. Awfully surprisingly unsurprised about what happened in that kitchen. The real question is, was it good though?
It
was it good, Tanhony?
I actually did a lot of research when I was writing this article. I can tell you, it did taste good.
In theory, humans don't taste that bad when prepared properly. It's just meat.
Sure. In theory,
cannibalism.
But his next episode was Bobble in the Big City. Setting of episode is a large American city, possibly New York. In the episode...
This one is how I know Tan's British, because New York is like one of the few cities that's instantly recognizable when you see any part of it. Yep. So I would be like, possibly New York. Who knows?
Could be
Probably New York.
Very obvious New York skyline is not necessarily recognizable in this situation. It's fine.
He's not swinging around like Spider-Man. They don't see the skyline.
No, but like New York is like such a populated city that unless you like go really, really deep into some like sketchy part, any building they would be like, oh, I recognize that place. That's on Queen 17th or whatever.
You're right. There would have been a chorus of people going, I'm walking here.
I think it's the same for pretty much any like major cultural city that you can name, whether American or not. People would have enough recognizability because of the high population count to be like, oh yeah, that's London, that's Berlin, that's this, that's that.
New York is so funny to me. Yeah. It's like my only other headcanon is that this takes place in England, and they just are like making assumptions.
They're an alternative New York. But yeah, Bobble probably in New York. In the episode, Bobble instructs the viewers on methods of lighting fires undetected, using resources such as mosquito coils.
I have an exclusive over commentary about the mention of mosquito coils here. The only reason that's in the article is because I was playing LA Noire at the time, and in that game, someone uses a mosquito coil to set fire to a building.
You see, art informs art. What the fuck is a mosquito coil, though? I actually don't know.
It's like a thing you set up and mosquitoes fly into it and they burn.
Yeah, I assume it's like a bug zapper for mosquitoes. It's got some sort of...
because fuck mosquitoes in particular, I guess.
Old-timey bug zapper kind of thing. It's like a heated coil, and they're like attracted to it, and then burns them.
Yeah,
right,
well, mosquitoes are like more attracted to heat and like certain scents than they are lights, right?
Yeah.
Most other insects are
mosquito coil. Yeah, it's like a little metal ring thingy.
Yeah,
it's like a little spiral. Well, you can add that in post for us. That's not too much extra work for you. Every time I say just add it in post, I assume you will.
It's really not that hard.
At the end of the episode, though,
shaming every person who ever says it's hard to edit a podcast.
Right. I know, but that's why I'm just throwing as much work. We'll see how hard it is. Because then, Bobble, at the end of the episode, Bobble the Clown sets fire to a large building and leaves. The picture stays on the burning building for a further 3 minutes before the episode ends. Screams are audible during this time.
Ooh, fun. They're having a party.
He just made a large mosquito coil. That's all he did. Only it was catching more than mosquitoes.
Oof.
Oh my.
Alright, you do this next one and I'll do the last
I want to
three.
start doing that instead of moth to a flame. Like, ooh, like a mosquito to a coil.
To a coil. It's both effective, yet wonderfully contrarian. I'm going to steal that from you, too.
Oh, that's actually giving me an idea for a thing.
Keep it,
we'll popularize it together, power.
We'll spread this SCP's word. The third episode, Bobble's Sneaky Saturday. The setting of the episode appears to be London. At the Elizabeth Tower, housing Big Ben is visible. So, it's London. In the episode, Bobble the Clown silently stalks a woman for most of the episode.
See what I mean? Sorry to interrupt you for the millionth time, Power, but like, oh, it's possibly New York, like, it's hard to recognize, but oh, the Elizabeth Tower, the structure all people know of, yes.
Go on.
It's certainly London.
Also, you never have to apologize for interrupting Power Core. Again, like I said, we both have ADHD. Power Core's used to me interrupting. He's not going to be any less used to it.
Yeah, but still, I owe him the professional courtey of interrupting. I apologize, Power.
I appreciate being treated with respect, Force. The soldier... Oh, wait, that was the next episode. When he arrives at her home, Bobble the Clown attacks and kills her with a large butcher knife. At the end of the episode, Bobble the Clown details methods of remaining unseen in crowded places. He gives you a stealth course. Now on Great Courses Plus.
Toes.
Oh my gosh, Tanhony. I can't believe Tanhony would write an SCP about a woman being stalked. I'm canceling him right now.
And being butchered.
Here's the thing. Is Tanhony big enough that canceling him would actually cancel him, or would it just increase his power?
Well, I think if the Among Us SCP couldn't cancel him, barring like a legitimately fucked up thing, I don't think anything will cancel him.
I'm sorry, the fuck is this Among Us SCP you've just been informed of?
It's not just one, it's two.
So Tanhony wrote, as a bet, just for fun, an Among Us SCP. And then the larger community caught whiff of it and we're like, wow, there's an SCP about Among Us, Wiki's going to shit. And like all this shit was thrown and then all these like hate. And instead of like backing down, he wrote a second one. And then when everyone was like, damn, this is good. I love Among Us SCP now. He's like, I'm done. Like fucking, what's his name? The Roman guy? He went back to his farm and plowed the fields. He was done.
My God. That's the tale of him. That itself. That entire story should also be an SCP story about a writer who created an SCP that then slowly overcame his life. He has to be contrarian. I respect that contrarianism.
For like 2 days, he was like YouTube SCP community #1 villain. It was really funny.
All over fucking Among Us. These stories are yours now, Force, right?
Yep. The next episode, Bubble Gets the Truth. Setting of episode appears to be a prisoner of war camp. In the episode, Bobble the Clown tortures a captured soldier, repeatedly asking him nonsensical questions. Soldier eventually appears to die of his wounds. Bobble the Clown then details to the viewer how to inflict pain, but non-lethal injuries.
Is he really a good tutor if he killed the guy of his wounds, though? So, like, clearly Bobble fucked up, right?
I mean...
Eventually, yeah.
Eventually they died of their wounds, but until then, technically all the wounds he inflicted at first were non-lethal. He
just also didn't
heals.
Imagine you're in a fucking like POW camp and fucking Ronald McDonald comes up to you.
I would just be like, okay, so I'm going to tell you everything and anything you want to know right now.
It's like, so you didn't make 20 cents and round up to $1 at McDonald's for the Ronald McDonald House. sharpening his knife.
What would you say if I gave you a 2-for-1 deal on cheeseburgers?
My God.
Is that torture? Or are you just feeding me at that point?
You're working for Sanders, aren't you?
He will make you eat the McDonald's salads. That's the torture.
Drinking, Tanhony. Don't do that.
The McDonald's salads, fucking hell.
Oh, God. All right, next episode. Bobble hates you. Setting of episode appears to be a blank room. Bobble the Clown sits on a chair in the room, staring angrily at the viewer for the full 30 minutes of the episode.
I think this was my favorite episode.
This is when like he started to realize his episodes were being intercepted by the Foundation, so he's pissed off.
I think that's one of my favorite episodes. It's just the clown staring at me angrily for 30 minutes.
Yeah, that's some like art house film shit. Oh man.
And then expletive you, expletive you, expletive you. The setting of the episode appears to be Site Blank's video archive, where recordings of SCP-993 are stored. In the episode, Bobble the Clown angrily details methods of breaching containment for several SCPs. Bobble then details methods to murder researchers involved in its containment, showing detailed knowledge of their daily routines and habits. Notably, what appears to be an animated version of Dr. Blank walks past Bobble halfway through the episode. Clock on the wall shows the time as blank blank PM. Dr. Blank confirms that he was walking past SCP-993's archive at that time. Which, I don't know how he could confirm that, because I would never know when I was walking past a specific fucking door.
So this SCP is a little weird to transfer into like an enemy, I think, because there's an inherently fucked up nature since it only works on children. But I imagine it would be something along the lines of like, you would come up against child assassins and you have to escape and find the source like broadcast, because obviously you can't hurt the kids. And you
see, that's exactly what I'm talking about, though. Doesn't have to be an enemy. It could be any like concept you could think that be a game term. So you've just created a quest right there. It's like these kids are being enthralled by some sort of thing that you can see and is teaching them dangerous things. You have to find the source of this magical transmission. And and
it's probably escalating to like the first quest is like, oh, Timmy's been very rude at school, and then you track down Timmy and he's like gutting a cat or something. It's like, oh, this is a problem now.
Yeah, and Jimmy's now building a bomb, which he was kind of doing before, but now he's a bit more angry about it.
Jimmy's building the mosquito coil bomb.
Oh God, no!
Another episode idea that this does give me is kind of playing on the whole that same experiment we were talking about before. Showing people doing things seems to encourage other people to do it. So you could create a, like, let's just say it's a program that plays and it's the regular form of edutainment or forced, like, re-education. So let's say it's a dystopia. The way they get you to follow through is just by repeatedly showing you the same program of you doing this act, and it compels you to actually go do the act.
Would you kindly grab that for me?
I mean, obviously that's not like cool as in a good thing, but that's a really neat like idea for like a fucked up dystopia. What about you, Tim? What's your video game idea? Hit us up.
My video game idea? Well, for Bobble, I would say that it's, if we have the same sort of say, it's funny because he's not a guy like shows up directly, he's like, oh, let's have a sword fight. He's like a fictional guy in the context of even like the in-universe things. It's like, maybe you find a book that has the wacky adventures of Bobble. It's like a cursed item, maybe, or something.
Yeah, and just reading it compels you to follow that adventure, like, to a T.
Like, you get maybe, like, more, like, boosts in, like, your violence stats, maybe, but you also get, like, fucked up.
You start becoming more and more Bobble-like. Good old Bobble's Guide to Everything.
Oh, that actually...
Like, you start putting on the clown makeup.
So those are I use on my D&D table, I use a system called dormant items. Dormant items are basically items which have like a mini challenge or something to them that you have to do, and then they evolve into a new item. Similar to normal evolving items, except this is to encourage players to, one, pick items that they might want to complete those challenges for, or two, try strange and different things in order to meet those challenges in weird situations. You could very easily do like a book like that, which you just like read the first chapter and the rest is blank, and you have to play out like 3 key elements in that chapter, and then the next chapter unlocks and you get like a boon of some kind from finishing the chapter. But also doing things in that chapter not necessarily negatively impact you directly, like you don't get cursed or anything like that, but it could cause you to do serious harm to friends or allies, or to just strange situations, or just create strange situations that are not necessarily beneficial in general.
Mm-hmm.
The thing I had in mind is a kind of combination item / spell. Could be one or both. Like you could make it a spell or you can make it an item. And this is the mosquito coil, which would just be the burning coil. It is, if you've ever played Pokemon, Fire Spin is a move which you hit a person with and it traps them. In this case, it's sort of like the Iron Bands of Balaros. It's a little spring coil that you like spring together and it starts heating up, and you throw it at somebody and it just wraps them and slowly burns them.
Oh, like heat metal on the metal as it's
like a heat metal as an object.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh baby, I call that pig in a blanket. Am I right?
I mean, they're gonna be roasted after. Have a nice amount of grill marks on them. Heat metal, but I throw the metal and the heat.
The burning bands of bubble, as they were taught by a strange ancient entertainer.
That is dope as fuck. I love that.
But you can also make it a spell for spellcasters. The reason I say this is a spell and item is, again, in my setting, I have things called spell gear, which are essentially equipments that are powered by magical gems, like crystallized magic, that anyone can use, and they provide spell effects, sort of like enchanted items, except you don't have to be attuned to them and a whole bunch of things, and they're like consumable in that way. Sort of like
I'm really happy that he's described this item in particular, because that sounds like something I can get since I'm playing that campaign.
This has 3 Iron Bands of Bolaro because I gave them a fucking magic item super nerd shop that's just like my fun. Like
Gnome
I have this fun Gnome Depot, as he likes to call it. I have this fun interdimensional gnome shopkeeper who sells magical items for credit. And he'll give you credits, and for every amount of gold that you, so much gold that you acquire, he gives you a certain amount of time to pay that debt back. But you can basically buy any magic item you can find in the book in here.
I'm alive, but in crippling debt.
Yes.
Oh my god.
Basically. So it's like, in theory, the fun of it is like you could just put yourself into so much debt that this character would never see it during the campaign lifetime. Never have to deal with it.
Right.
And that's fine by me, because I like playing high-powered campaigns. I like running them. I like dealing with that challenge and like thinking around like players with lots of creative items and creative power sets and stuff like that.
I had something similar in my last campaign Tan was in. I'm trying to remember the name. There was like
I remember exactly.
He was a reoccurring cat, like a caravan, and he was related to one of the other characters, and he would come up every now and then and like sell magic item shit. And it was always a treat. No, you like this. This was the good cat. This was fuck. What was his name? It was like Smoking Tree or some bullshit.
Yeah, no, he
was a good cat. He wasn't Good Fortune. There was also a cat that cucked Tanhony and stole his ex-wife. But yeah, I think it's the cat I was thinking of. Yeah, he did own him. He stole his mosquito. Yeah. Oh my god, that campaign! I love it so much. But yeah,
I thought you were going to talk about the campaign before that, where you had that necklace, where like, if I'm wearing the necklace and I ask someone a question, they have to tell me the truth. And Darnell did not realize how much I could fucking abuse this necklace.
Oh god, this is.
To be fair, when he says that, before I lose all my DM credit, that was like 5 or 6 years ago when I first started DMing.
Oh yeah, no.
So
no,
I was very new to it then, and I didn't realize how fucked up that would be in an intrigue campaign. First off,
this is still a thing. This is still a thing that I would give to a player today. The thing is, you add the little stipulations that, like, 1, it's got like a charge that can only be done once per day or something like that. You say,
right?
Or 2, you make it,
or like then suddenly there were only 3 uses left.
I tried to put a limit on it, which is an amateur DM mistake. But instead of respecting that, Tan said, "Oh, there's a limit now. Maybe I can overcome that by drinking it." And he like snapped it open and drank the liquid inside.
Yeah, and then he loses it and makes a con save where he's poisoned with some sort of strange arcane poison. Have fun with that, Tan. I don't know why you thought it would be a good idea to drink a strange magical...
A fun spin would be, not only after drinking it, it does work and you still get those charges, but now sometimes you have to compel to speak the truth for an extended period of time. You aren't allowed to lie.
So that's the kind of shit yep. This is why
I was in the high school beginning of college. I needed you guys.
You also make it like you could also make it like a charm effect, and then just give creatures items that make them immune to charm, because it's an intrigue campaign, and they don't want to be compelled to speak the truth ever.
Especially if you can't turn it off, and now it's innate. Now you're kind of like a mind virus. No one wants to talk to you because you auto charm them by being around them.
He's a fucking mimetic hazard. But yeah, that campaign didn't go nearly as far as my last one. But I've improved a lot as a DM. I've learned a lot.
Oh, yeah.
I like to think I'm a good TM. Tan can clarify if I am or not, but
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, that's the thing about like DMing is like the more you do it, the better you get at it.
Exactly. Everyone's always scared, like, oh, what if I suck? You will suck, but that's okay.
Oh, absolutely. That's the thing. It's
Sucking's part of the process.
The first game you run, the first game I ran. So D&D. I'm gonna go off on this for a second. D&D to me
we already
is
aren't on a tangent.
D&D to me is like is the tool that I used. It's the thing that I used to connect with my father back when there was a whole bunch of stuff that went on, but he like had this developed this very severe chronic depression. It was very, very difficult to like talk to him and interact with him. And he used to play D&D. And so one day I like talked with some of his friends and I'm like, he's really, really sad all the time. I kind of want to run like a new D&D game because I know he used to love that and he's been going over his old character sheets. And so we ran a new D&D game and his friends brought like their old character sheets. So my first campaign was literally taking these 4 older men who are all like their 30s and 40s as like a 17-year-old kid through like the most basic and you meet the strange guy in a tavern, and they were still like that was really good for a first game and stuff like that, and so it became like my thing where I would talk with my dad and my dad would give me like advice, and so that was like how we started
honestly
reconnecting
that's
on that.
super sweet of you, and that's a really cool environment to learn about that from.
And so I'm now D&D obsessed. I wonder why.
Yeah, I love tabletops.
Feedback.
Absolutely.
All right,
I love
so
tabletops. I don't have as much time for them anymore, but I love running them. I love playing them. Right now, Tan's running a pretty simplistic JoJo one that's pretty fun. We're doing it on our channel. I highly recommend checking it out.
I saw that.
Like JoJo
Havoc
stuff.
Moon.
Oh my god, yes.
The first episode blew up.
We're not getting into JoJo Power Core. That will go terrible ways.
That will go amazing ways.
You and I will have to talk later, Power Core, my friend.
We'll talk about it later. We got to get to year one, Darnell, so that we don't run ridiculously over.
I picked out 2. One, I really like the story it's from, but because it's such a long web serial, picking up part of a chapter is gonna. I don't know if you'll be able to get a feel of the character. So the first one I want to go into is just an SCP I picked out, a pretty simple one. And if we have time later, I can pull up that chapter. Tan dug out a part of a chapter we can read for that. The first SCP I ever read, and basically the only SCP I had read before the podcast, which was Dragon Snails.
Yep.
Okay, I think I linked Bobble back. Never mind. Whoops.
Bobble's back. We can't
Bobble,
it's all Bobble now. It always has been.
No, Dragon Snails, and it's by, I always forget, because it's really old, so it's got like 3 billion revisions. It's by Adam Henderson, who I don't think is on the wiki anymore. But yes, this is like an old Wondertainment article. It's very simple. It's very Series 1. But
thank you, Adam Henderson, for this content, which we are about to enjoy. Hope you're doing.
Thank you for the content,
Adam Henderson.
Thank you so much.
Arigato gozaimasu.
So as with last time, Darnell, you'll go through the procedures, and then Power will take over description, and then me and Tanhony will handle like documents and stuff like that. Going back and forth.
Okay. Item number, SCP-111. Object class, safe. Special containment procedures. All specimens of SCP-111 in captivity are housed at Site 19, blank wing, in a 5 meter by 5 meter by 5 meter plexiglass enclosure containing a temperate forest habitat transplanted from its natural surroundings. Habitat temperature will be maintained at 30 degrees Celsius. Feeding is to take place weekly by personnel placing 3 kilograms of iceberg lettuce, Lactuca sativa, into the containment chamber. Water is to be supplied by an automatic misting system, which regulates humidity levels at 50%, both for water required by SCP-111 and to prevent fires. In event of SCP-111 specimens breeding, personnel are to collect all eggs and transport them to the Biological Studies Wing for freezing.
Real quick, I do like the weaving of words because it says to prevent fires. Since I now know it's about dragon snails. Oh yeah, it's just like normal fires. No, fires that they can cause.
Yep.
Cute foreshadowing. The description. SCP-111 is an apparently artificial species of invertebrate, vaguely resembling snails. Adult specimens of SCP-111 are approximately 20 centimeters in length and 12 centimeters width and 15 centimeters in height. Although exact size differs slightly between specimens, SCP-111 specimens differ from ordinary snails in that they have a warm-blooded metabolism, complex eyes, small horns consisting of cartilage rigid tentacles. Apparently increased intelligence, personnel are requested to read test log redacted for details, and complex vertebrate-type jaw structures, as well as specimens lay eggs possessing hardened shells. Most abnormally, SCP-111 specimens possess small hollow sacs below their lower jaws containing methane from digestive byproducts. A series of data expunged along the
For some
insides
reason,
of the
methane made me
trachea.
think of farts, so just like they just have a fart gland in their mouth.
No, you're not wrong. It is byproduct, so it is actually a fart gland in their mouth.
It's just a fart gland that they can light on fire. You're completely correct.
Oh,
Man,
I love that.
their breath must be awful. A series of data expunged alongside the inside of the trachea serves as a lighter, igniting sorted methane as the specimen exhales, blowing a small jet of flame from its mouth. Said fire breathing generally occurs in the event of stress or anger, although is not apparently used deliberately for destruction, but rather as a warning. This is presumably due to the limited size of the methane sacs, which limits SCP-111 specimens in the amount of fire they can exhale at a time, and requiring both time and starch-rich fuel to refuel.
Food to
SCP, really good. They love their starchy carbs.
Yeah, so you said fuel to refuel.
Eating
It requires
with
food
the
to
dragon
refuel.
snails.
Hey, food is fuel.
It's true, but you read the wrong word.
shit,
I
he's
had to get
right.
at least one in.
I will one day, of course. One day. SCP-111's behavior is inconsistent with that of the ordinary snail species, including whistling and hooting vocalizations easily audible to humans. High intellect seen in tests. Never mind, I botched that sentence. High intellect seen in such tests as data expunged and parents caring for their young. Hatchlings have been observed imprinting on their parents, other members of their own species, or researchers. This is presumed to be a deliberate trait based on document 111A, as it means that hatchlings imprint upon owners. I did it. Minimal mistakes.
Minimal mistakes. Very good. Very good.
Minimal.
You-
This is like when you end the Sonic run and Sonic does his fancy dance only for you to get like a C.
Yep. Pretty much.
Great
All
job! You're mediocre.
So I will read history and then the document up till types, and then at that point you want to take over Tanhony for the types.
Yeah, sure.
So the history on blank 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 because
Too many blanks.
a package containing 12 SCP-111 eggs and document 111A was mailed to Data Expunged, a Foundation front organization. Mobile Task Force Alpha 4 have proven unable to locate the sender of said package. Document 111A. New from Dr. Wondertainment, Dragon Snails, the perfect pets for the fantasy-loving child. Care and hatching instructions. 1. Having read this document, take the eggs out of the box. Be careful. Dragon snail eggs are fragile. 2.
You forgot the trademark.
You're right.
Now who's messing up for us?
2. Put the eggs in a warm, safe place and wait 7 to 10 days. 3. Hold your newly hatched dragon snails trademark so they get a good look at you and think you're their mommy. 4. Enjoy your new pet dragon snails trademark. To feed your dragon snails trademark, give your new little friends some raw veggies. Lettuce, Brussels sprouts, beans, any sort of salad stuff you don't want. Remember to give them water, a small glass each once a day. For your enjoyment, dragon snails trademark come in 6 types. Breed them for unique pets.
They're so fucking cute. My god. Kind of want one.
Right? Did you wait? Okay, so they had to remove the image because of the new copyright. But if you go to files at the bottom power and you click on the 2, you can see the images that used to exist for them, and they're very cute.
Oh, I want to see these. Now I need to see these.
Yeah, you go all the way down to files and you can see the first site and garden pest if you just hover over them.
Aww.
Oh my god! Okay. Like, just as a spoiler already, you could just drop these in cold. You don't even change anything about them.
Yeah, you
These are
probably
just
could just drop these in.
creatures.
It's just like a...
I think like one use right off the bat is like you have your little goo pet that could be like a pet like in an MMO, but also I bet you could use dragon snail eggs as a currency or something. Like you can turn them in as like an item you sell when you get junk items from like fighting monsters to the vendor.
You could probably use them as like a kids currency thing. Just have them like trading cards where the kids are like trading for like snack puddings
like
and stuff.
trading cards, bottle camps. Yeah, it's like, oh wow, you have this type of dragon snail.
I have the gold one, but we're not quite done with the story yet, so we'll restrain ourselves.
Go ahead, Tanhony. Types.
Types. Slimy bellies. Adorable and oozy little fellows with awesome fire engine red colored skin, little black horns and belly, and a speckled tan shell. Beautiful robin's egg blue eggs. Ooze drakes, inquisitive little creatures with neat banana-colored skin, curly horns, and striped shells. Pale tan eggs, like a chicken. Goo wyverns. Dark blue-gray skin, flattened shells, and a bumpy horned head make goo wyverns look like tiny sea monsters. Eggs are a fantastic glassy green color. Blobworms, read all about it. Green and gold stripes, pointy shells, and a single horn. Not to mention, fuzzy tails make blobworms wonderful pets. Eggs are canned with a silver tint. Glow drakes, new from Dr. Wondertainment. These little fellows may look like blue-black slimy bellies until they light up. That's right. Glow drakes glow in the dark. Eggs are a golden color with little red dots.
The shiny ones.
Oh, yeah.
Gunk wyverns. Chubby, green-skinned, and dome-shelled, gunk wyverns make great pets. Eggs are transparent so you can see the baby dragon snail inside. I don't want to fucking see that.
Snail fetuses.
Damn.
Be honest, one thing I've noticed, they all make great pets.
Oh, yeah.
They kind of do.
Tanhony, there's a parental notice.
Of course. Parental notice. As Dr. Wondertainment's dragon snails breathe fire, there be known to cause house fires. Maximum playtime fun and safety is recommended if fire shoes be kept handy. Despite this, Dr. Entertainment is not legally, morally, or financially responsible for any injuries, death, or property damage resulting from unsafe use of dragon snails or any other Dr. Wondertainment products. By reading this document and consuming your dragon snails eggs, you agree to all said terms and forfeit your rights to lawsuits, organized boycotts, protests, honor duels, etc. Enjoy your purpose.
Even though there's that notice at the end, part of the reason I love this SCP, aside from it being my first, is one, it's adorable, and two, most Wondertainment articles are like, oh, it's a toy, but it's fucked up and causes severe harm. But this one is like still relatively safe enough to be a pet as long as you like manage the fires. Like they have the mist at the foundation, so it's like one of the few Wondertainment ones that's like still kind of like a toy, like, or like sweet. Like it's not like the robot that blows you up with a Gatling gun or a rocket launcher or whatever it was.
Always murder
or
you.
like
Just
the
has
little
an unusually
mister
high
who
chance
just
of
causes
murdering
everyone to get lost when trying to stay near it.
Yeah, exactly. It's still like relatively within the realm of like kids products without being too insane.
Honestly,
so
if
I
it
really
just didn't breathe
this one.
fire, it'd be perfect. It'd be actually
Exactly,
just be like
a sick-looking snail. That'd be so dope, dude.
I'm jumping ahead because this one actually does give me a lot of ideas. I love how this one's been.
I mean,
written.
go ahead. We're on idea portion now because I think we're done with
Just like
Go for it.
for a sci-fi world, GMO pets, where you just take normal like our pets, but you give them unique modifications, and then you basically Pokemon trade them.
So like dragon snails or like whale roaches.
Or like fish
roaches.
dogs.
Fish dogs.
Lizard dogs.
Lizard dogs, and they're just like Komodo dragons with fur would be kind of sick.
Yes. And hey, you can talk about all the fun and unethical things you could do with them. Some probably more warlike. Maybe you don't want your terrier to also be part Komodo dragon.
I was about to say, if you've got GMO pets, you've probably got like war beast.
Yes.
There's almost certainly somebody who's done some very, very unethical, like, and here's my super hybrid monster with all the perfect parts from every dangerous creature on every planet ever.
Yeah, the good old lion scorpion, which is just the chimera.
Yeah, basically. I know usually like the fucked up thing comes first in those types of situations, but I kind of like the idea of like they were the innocent pet first, and then the military is like, we can work.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. That's the unfortunate thing. Small thing. That's basically what had happened with NFTs.
Pretty much with all blockchain technology.
Yeah, their designer originally made them not as like a thing for tech industry and stuff like that. He made it in. From what I remember reading in his thing, because he's basically like frustrated with where they are now. He made them in conjunction with an artist as part of like a week like tech art crossover demo thing where they made like a demo version. The original intent was to have literal pictures with it built into it that artists could make, and they could build it into their art on their own so that they could then sell their art like that and protect their art and their copyright. And so if somebody put it up, they could say like, yes, that is mine because the information's stored inside the picture.
Right, like a encryption tag or something in the piece.
Yep. But as happens is they presented it to a bunch of artists. The artists all kind of like laughed at the idea of it being monetized. So they presented it. He ended it with we presented it at a tech show, and nobody laughed because it's not a joke in the tech world. And now they're using his demo version essentially without any of the upgrades he'd wanted to put in as
Yeah, because that's
actual
that's the thing with blockchain tech. It's really good for some form of digital signature to verify you own this, and anyone can see that you own this on this registry, and it can't be changed, but it can be seen. NFTs are weird because people basically say trade them like stocks when they're just supposed to be, hey, here's a confirmed receipt for this. Or they try to kind of lie to you and say, oh yeah, you now have copyright over the image that's used here. Own iconic internet moments like Charlie bit my finger. You're buying a registry tag to say, hey, I own this registry or like this collectible variant of Charlie bit my finger. You don't own the copyright to the clip. The clip can still be seen. You can just verify you purchased this clip from this person.
It's I like the best comparison I've heard is like the Beanie Baby Rush. It's like people collecting a whole bunch of Beanie Babies because they're like super popular, and they eventually they're like holding on to them because they think they're going to keep popular forever, and then they'll have the like special ones that they can then sell for millions and millions of dollars. And
because collectibles by their nature don't have innate value, but the value we give them is why they trade for so much.
Exactly. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And before someone's like, well, that's just what money is. Well, yeah, but also fuck you.
Yeah.
But I guess part of the point is like it's really frustrating with the hold on, I have to actually get water in order to sip. Thank you, Corgo. It's been like the major frustration with NFTs is the fact that they're trying to do it with something digital, which is inherently very easily to replicate. And by trying to make it more scarce, you're making it more costly to make it scarce than to just continue to allow it to be replicated indefinitely. So it's...
Oh, wait, I have channel points too.
Not pleasant.
Damn it, don't go
channel point time.
So an idea I had for this is less an idea that I had for this, but it's an idea that came back up because I use it every now and then. There was an anime a while back which introduced a style of isekai. I'm an isekai nerd.
Say the anime right now.
I can't remember because I dipped out of it because it got creepy as shit really quick.
I'm worried that you're going to describe it and now I'm going to know it.
Yeah, anytime you watch an isekai, you're like, oh, this is fun, and then like half the time it gets like really weird.
Like Mushoku Tensei gets pretty weird sometimes in its relationships with other people.
Yeah, that one's... Ooh.
But overall, like, it's actually a really good... a lot of because it's like the granddaddy of isekai. It's... the one... That's not the one I'm thinking of. The one I'm thinking of is like...
I'm not calling you out for having watched it. It's definitely a ride.
Blessing of the Goddess. It's about a guy who goes into a forest and like becomes a slime master and like raises slimes and like breeds the slimes together. But like... in the intro, like, Mushoku Tensei gets a little bit iffy with his relationship with, like, the other girls his age, his physical age, even though he's still mentally older. But this one is, like, that's not, like, specified in the intros and stuff like that, and it only touches on it tangentially every now and then. Whereas in this one, like, in the intro video, it's, like, half of the video is about him hooking up with this young girl. It's like, no.
Thank goodness I don't know this one.
I dipped out. It was not a great show either, but it did some really cute things. One of them was a slime. There's different slimes that he bred together, and he like mixed them with magic and stuff to different things. One of them was a cleaning slime.
So you're getting to like a dragon snail breeder and like mixing them up.
And in this case, it was slimes, and the slime that comes to my mind is the cleaning slime because it ate debris and stuff off of things and just
that's where it came from.
Polished, And so like Power Course Party in their current campaign, I have environmental effects. Like I have a encounters table that I roll on. That's literally like, as you travel, everyone has like one chance during a travel period to have an encounter. And that could be like an environmental effect. It could be like a interaction with a creature in the environment. It can be an interaction with a random NPC. All sorts of things like that. It's not like specifically a wild battle. But one of the encounters that one of the players had was a magical storm of some description, and on my mind at the time was that slime. So it just rained that slime from the sky, and they collected up like a half dozen of these little cleaning slimes that just kind of like
it's been a little buddy ever since.
Stuff. So
that's cute.
But like that cleaning slime.
I can see that. You got anything, Tan?
I'm not sure. Like was said, it's pretty like self-explanatory, really, and how it could fit into most places.
Yeah.
I'm thinking of like little cute companion, maybe to follow you around in Club Penguin.
That's what I'm saying.
Did you mention Club Penguin? I didn't think so, my good bitch.
I said MMOs, and if you think Club Penguin is an MMO, sorry, sweetie, but you're wrong.
It's a bit beyond that.
Penguin
It's
is
what we
an
call
MMO.
a metaverse.
No.
All right. Now, nope. I'm sorry. We're gonna have to end this. I cannot. No.
How to get you guys this
it's a
whole
penguin
channel
verse.
canceled. Sorry. Oh, the
It's a penguin verse, not a metaverse.
Me and my NFT penguin collection.
Before we get into what's next, PowerCore is going to be making his thing. But in general, for creating stuff, this is something I do want to say. It does not have to specifically relate to what we read. If it's just something that like sparked a completely unrelated idea while we were reading, just
go for it.
Can post it. That's the idea. It's like whatever you were inspired, even if it has literally no tangential touching on that. It's just like we were reading this for some reason. This came to me.
As a side note, for the rest of the articles, my ideas are all going to involve mosquito coils. Sorry.
It's fine.
Very
it came up at some point.
I'll
have you know, I'm probably going to make that fucking mosquito coil thing and put it in my D&D.
God, yes, because that means I get a fucking buff. So yes.
Brilliant.
Well,
I hope
let's
you're
NPC.
happy, Tanhony.
I'm going to use it against you, PowerCore.
Yeah, then that would be very fucking bad, alright? If you fail that check once, you're in those things for 24 hours. You will actually just burn to death. What a horrible way to die.
Mm-hmm. Bands of Bobble, coming for the party. TPK.
Please, Bobble, no.
I should probably actually pull up the chat so that I can. Oh my god, one of my group chats is 240 messages and I have no idea why. Okay, ignoring that.
I've got a little story that I found. I pre-read this one for once, and I know.
Oh, it's my little baby! I'm sorry.
Literal first time.
6469?
And I figured out I love this story. It just hit me, you know? It hit me where it hurt.
A Series 7 article that's not like 3 billion pages long and gives me the life story of every character in it?
There were so many long ones.
Me and PowerCore, we regularly don't have time to proofread our things sometimes, so we'll just go to like the shortest tab and look at like the new ones from last month. So that's what we'll do.
That's where this guy came from.
So this is a Calibri Bold SCP I'm seeing, and also it says the image was done by Dr. Whitney. That's our homie. Dr. Whitney. She's been on an art stream I did before. A cool friend. Shout out to Dr. Whitney. Shout out to Calibri Bold. That is awesome.
All right.
Nice. And I'll give a personal shout out to Calibri Bold. I fucking love your writing. All right.
Wait, actually, this is Cali Bold. Is Cali Bold the same as Calibri Bold? Tan, help me out here.
I think so.
I would think so too, because Calibri is like super well known. This is like a 5 guru user on the wiki, unless Calibold. So if it was a separate,
Calibold is Calibri Bold. Yes.
Okay.
Epic.
Okay. I love their writing because this story hit me where it hurt and it made me giggle endlessly.
Okay.
I hope the story is just like baby shoes for sale, never worn.
I can't give it away. Don't ask me. I'm not trying to spoil it.
Why don't you go ahead and start, PowerCore? I'll take over on the description.
Thank you, Calibri Bold, for this story and for the content.
Yes,
SCP-6469-D. Item number, as stated before. Object class was Keter, but is now decommissioned. Special containment procedures. There is no known way of tracking SCP-6469 or predicting its next manifestation. All containment efforts are focused on amnesticizing witnesses and mitigating any amnesticizing.
It's okay. It's a bullshit word. Don't feel bad.
M and N, I know, right?
Yeah, but I can still make fun of him for it. Because it wasn't even the M and N that he got wrong. It was the C-sizing.
Just wait till you read, if you ever read the Anti-MX Division, which is brilliant, by the way, amazing stuff by oh my god, help me remember the name. How am I forgetting the name? They're like one of my favorite writers.
Well, he's an anti-memetic, so of course.
Yeah, but they have the word nestics,
which is
like MNESTIC. It's just such bullshit words.
Nestic.
So
yeah. The focus, though, is amnesticizing witnesses and mitigating any public association of SCP-6469 with major deaths or disasters.
Uh-oh. But that's a picture of a baby!
Sure. And the one request I have though is that I want to do the little the text blur with the picture.
Okay.
Okay. Cool thing. I'll do the description archived, and then Force, if you want to do the addendum prior to the text picture, then Power can do the picture text, and then Tan can do that last little bit.
Works for me.
Okay.
I think I'm up to that.
SCP-6469 is an infant child, appearing to be approximately 6 to 12 months old, though its true age is unknown. SCP-6469 will manifest shortly prior to immense tragedies or disasters. I don't like where this is going! No!
I think that's
an asshole-looking ass SCP. Both artificial and natural. It will typically, though not always, manifest in public areas in the presence of several individuals. Notably, it seems to prefer religious institutions, though it seems to bear no preference towards any particular faith. It will occasionally undergo physiological changes, such as growing horns, emitting lighter sound, speaking in various languages, or emitting blood from its orifices. And there's a little footnote. These characteristics may be inaccurate, as the only evidence for them are eyewitness accounts from individuals suffering trauma at the aftermath of an unprecedented tragedy, although in many cases such changes are consistent across reports, proving credibility to these claims. Beyond this, most of SCP-6469's characteristics are unknown, including its relationship to the disasters it heralds. While uncertain, it is considered likely that 6469 may be the cause of these events.
That damn baby.
Right. Addendum 6469-1. The night prior to the official commissioning of Area 137, the headquarters of the Decommissioning Department, SCP-6469 manifested in Director Calvin Bold's office, where Bold happened to be present, finalizing relevant documentation.
Dr. Bold, or Director Bold, is located at his desk, filling out forms. SCP-6469 manifests on the floor of his office. Although Bold does not initially notice, SCP-6469 begins undergoing minor metamorphic changes. And since it's in fucking Italian, I've pre-recorded me saying this correctly, because, my god, why would I ever try to say this live?
There is a translated footnote as well.
Oh yeah, so I'll go back through and retranslate, but for now enjoy my best Italian impression. Attento, Calvin Bold. È arrivato il momento in cui le tue ambiazze si realizzano. Eppure, dico io, solamente un tragiana gemoriata da. Ew, what is that?
I did not expect that part to be recorded as well.
I had to.
This is the highest effort Power Chord's ever put into anything on this show.
Just kicked and instantly killed the baby, but also it's kind of funny.
That's why I had
You gave me audibly gasp a minute ago as I read the last line of the log.
Director Calvin Bold would be the best counter to the Bobble Army quest from earlier. He would have no hesitation.
The moment Bobble shows up, Director Bold runs up and kicks into a wall full force.
Oh my god.
Really killing it, Jesus.
I know. So we all know what happened. You can read the rest out.
All right. The translation of the Italian was, "Beware, Calvin Bold. The time is at hand when your ambitions reach fruition. But this, I say, only tragedy shall sprout from." At which point he gets kicked.
And Bold notices and kicks him.
Ultimately,
no disciplinary measures were enacted as the response was considered appropriate to Switzerland and region security. Furthermore, Bold himself retroactively authorized the termination of that baby. The commissioning of Area 137 continued as planned, and that baby's remains were eventually contained therein.
Oof.
So my very first gut reaction, although it's very simple, is the spell alarm or alert or whatever in D&D that you set an alarm and when someone triggers it, a thing happens. Like a spell you preset when you go to bed or going to be busy with something, and then when someone that you don't tag approaches within a meter of you, your foot instantly leaps to kick them at insane speed. Just brutal reaction.
I'm sorry, just the idea of it's a higher level alarm spell that instead of waking you up, it just animates your body and allows you to fight unconscious.
Karate kick while you're still asleep.
It could be used as a foreshadowing device in campaigns. I guess it pops up as don't do this or else you're fucked.
Yeah,
I don't want to get my ass kicked. So
it doesn't even break your long rest while you're doing it. Your body just knows.
Oh my god.
Someone could easily say, look, last time I disturbed him, he was sleeping, I got my ass kicked, and I don't want that to happen again. Oh yeah, he's just exaggerating. It literally will possess him to kick you.
Look, gotta be ready. Gotta be ready during those rests. Okay,
There are four footnotes. If oh no, those just the footnotes we read previously.
Yes, those are the footnotes. We read this.
Footnotes are always at the bottom again.
All right.
I just love that story.
I'm gonna be honest. Reading this, I thought of Jack from The Incredibles.
Now that you mention it, yeah.
And so now I just kind of want a polymorphing murder baby. It's just like a little itty bitty fucking kid who's actually just like fully
that
fucking
thing's
grown,
20th level,
speaking speaks in tongues. It's just like it's literally just like basically it's the guy who was created as an experiment so that we could see if he could watch Bobble the Clown, even though he's actually like 500 years old.
Oh my god! Now I think about it too, it'd be a funny way to have like a real life New Game Plus when you're about to terminate and when you're basically just going to die, even if it's of old age or unnatural causes. Your consciousness is fully translated back into an infant body, but that infant body also contains all your physical properties. You get to stack overflow all those early gains of growing up on top of your base.
Are you telling me you're isekaiing /NG plusing in real life?
Yeah, yes, that's exactly real life NG plusing.
Yes, that's brilliant. I love it.
So this person's
an infant's body with the powers of a demon king?
I was born into an infant's body when I was a bodybuilder in life?
Yeah! Just like a jack,
my god. I need you to know I was laughing so hard at the fucking Demon King line that I actually wrote that down. I was starting to do Gaming Plus into an infant's body, and that's all I was gonna write, but then I just added with the powers of the Demon King.
Because that was also easy.
Works. There was actually it's not called an anime because it's Korean, but it's an anime.
Moving Korean picture shows.
Korean animation. There you go.
Yeah, it was a Korean animation.
What was it?
I can't remember what it was called, but it was literally about a kid who keeps getting reborn over and over again, who's like the ultimate cultivator. Because he's trying to stop something, but he can't stop it, so he keeps just kind of like he's just kind of giving the fuck up.
He's just cultivating more power.
I would just stop it.
Link me that if you find it, because I would like to give that a look.
Well, the funny thing is, like the reason he's reincarnating in the end is to like stop the end of the world, but he ends up being the end of the world. And the person who ends up saving him is the girl who he's like connected with in one of these in this last life.
Oh, wait a second!
So I can watch it, and then you spoiled it.
I feel like I've seen that. I've seen exactly what you're talking about.
You don't know me very well, Darnell. So PowerCore can tell you I've not spoiled anything. I just said something.
Wait, is this
to mess with your expectations?
No, that's an anime.
Yeah, he only gave the premise. There's definitely more to that, and Force is very good at not spoiling. Okay. He will also straight up make shit up to make it seem like he's spoiling it to have you be turned around later.
Link me the show then, because I want to watch that a lot.
I will.
Also, because you mentioned Korean animation, it's not even Korean animation, but just like non-Japanese animation, I want to shout out a Chinese animation, Scissor 7. If you haven't watched it, go fucking watch it.
I've seen that, yeah. It's so good.
I've started to watch it.
It's so fucking good.
I love it so much.
I saw the first couple episodes. Is it good all throughout?
Yep.
Yeah, so the first
solid.
season's more comedy focused, but by the time it gets to like season 3, it's like a genuinely like really cool action show.
Yep.
And I love like the power system and the bizarre powers. Gives me OPM vibes.
I love to play with like non-Japanese animation just because there's some really awesome. Like there was a Chinese. I wouldn't call it entirely an animation. It was a Chinese stop motion thing that I watched at one point. It's just a movie, but it was stop motion with like wood dolls instead of like clay figures, and so it was like puppeteered stop motion. It was just really fucking cool.
Shit, you talk about the Cultivator anime, the puppet show. You gotta link this shit to me, man. I
will see if I can find them, but I believe they were both on Netflix, so they should be in my like watched list. So I could probably just find them after this.
Jams.
Let's Cultivate.
So everyone except Force has presented an article, right? Do you have an article?
I do have an article.
Okay. Cool.
Like I was explaining earlier, have not entirely pre-read this. I did start reading it, and it looks interesting.
How long have we been going for, by the way?
A little
over an hour.
All right, so we probably will do this one, then we'll end it.
And then we'll kill the viewers.
Can you link me this article of yours?
Our viewers don't get killed here. Our viewers are loved and cherished and built.
It requires having viewers first.
Tanhony, you have no power here. You're trapped. You don't have a video. We've put you in a tiny profile picture.
We had to specifically build special containment procedures into our coding so that you could not do anything.
Murder the viewers.
Yeah, I knew it was coming.
That tiny profile picture, like batting against the sides, circling.
That's actually why you don't have a video camera here. It's because we couldn't let you have the live feed into the souls to look at them.
This article's by William. William's my boy. I love William.
Yep.
Yo, hold on. I gotta go into another server and ping him real quick.
Go ahead. Before
we continue, I know we're midstream, but you guys are super cool, and I would love to hang out with you, regardless of if it's for a podcast or not in the future. This has been a blast.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Hit me. I'm literally playing Minecraft after this.
Yes.
So I'm
if
playing.
We ever do another tabletop series after Havoc Moon, we'll hit you guys up for sure.
All right.
Hell yeah! Hey, Force, you finally get to not be a forever DM.
Well, I was going to say is what we could do is there's this idea that's been floating around my head and people's heads in general that might be an interesting one, which is a DM roundtable. So you get like 4 DMs and then have them like roll off to see who DMs each turn and try and like shift people's stories around. You don't tell anybody what your plans are, but you each have your own characters.
Fun, but with how like note heavy and like plan heavy my DMing style is, I would have to definitely adjust. I'd be like, what the fuck am I doing?
It'd definitely be something where you're going to be like, yeah, you're going to be mostly winging most of the shit. But
I would especially say Tanhony is not much of the winging DM. I don't know, Tan. Do you think you could do something like that?
It would be.
I could definitely give it a go.
It'd be something we'd have to have a session 0 on and be like, all right, what are our restrictions to like how far do we want to push the story and stuff? Like, do we want to like have
Usually,
like people can mark off NPCs to try not to kill and stuff like that?
Right.
Without
usually
spoiling.
I'm good on no restrictions for session 0, but when it comes to like switching DM powers, that's probably a good idea to like. All right,
some baseline rules.
Yeah.
That way you don't just completely obliterate someone's previous campaign idea. Like some kind of carry-over.
You don't get to do what the third new Star Wars trilogy movie did to the second new Star Wars trilogy movie.
You don't get to pull. Damn, I wasn't just about to say. You know who I'm talking about? The guy who made the second movie. I'm actually forgetting his name entirely.
I don't remember
get to pull either of them.
That's so
holy shit! I just forgot the first guy's name by you saying that. It was in my brain.
It's just so funny, man. I'm not a big Star Wars fan, so I don't care that much, and I'm not like, new trilogy, super good or super bad. But it's so funny to me that it was just 2 directors like fucking with each other. They had different ideas on how it should work.
I love Star Wars. I'm much more of a fantasy guy, so I much prefer Lord of the Rings. I do love
the concept
I'm the
of Star
same
Wars
because it's science fantasy, so it's like right on the edge of that.
Yeah,
I was disappointed. I wasn't like upset, and there are people who like really enjoyed them. I'm like, yeah, that's cool. I don't care.
I had fun watching them, but I didn't have a strong opinion either way. I did think it was goofy that Kylo Ren kissed what's her face.
That's my big thing. That's my big thing. No matter what your form of entertainment is, no matter what you enjoy, if you enjoyed it, regardless of how good it was, if you enjoyed it, it was good for you. Don't let anybody tell you otherherry. They can tell you that it's bad, and you can agree with that. But if you enjoyed it.
That's what really matters. Like The Room.
Like for example, Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Power.
Oh, you can. But The Room. No one's going to argue that's a well-made film, but it's a funny as fuck film. It is
a funny film.
I like Star Wars. I do not like Star Wars comment sections.
That too.
That's the. I like The Thing, but not The Things fans. I don't like. I like Undertale. I don't necessarily like the Undertale fandom.
Yep.
So SCP-4041. Object class, Keter. Special containment procedures. The Dynasty protocol is currently in effect, and is to be maintained indefinitely. Birds injured by SCP-4041-1 are to be explained under the cover story of predatory birds consuming toxic materials. Civilians witnessing or interacting with SCP-1 are to be amnesticized. The Dynasty protocol is as follows. Complete infiltration of the paleontology field by Foundation personnel. surrounding planned and current paleontological
Wait a minute, is this
dig
about
sites,
dinosaurs being SCPs?
both anomalous and non-anomalous, with anti-avian measures prior to excavation.
Oh, I remember this.
Is this like the feathered dinosaurs are bullshit SCPs and the dinosaurs we know are the cool ones?
I don't know where exactly it goes, but I did like this like first introduction, and like there's another line in here that I liked right. Widespread declaration that the theory suggesting that birds evolved from dinosaurs is obsolete. Use of mimetic agents embedded in educational media to reinforce that birds and dinosaurs are unrelated and that no dinosaurs ever possessed feathers.
Based. Look, I don't hate feathered dinosaurs, but I like lizard dinosaurs way more.
Yes, so much
Jurassic Park.
Yep.
All right, Power Core, why don't you... Actually, Tanhony. This is our last one. Why don't you go ahead and read the description?
So... SCP-4041 is a phenomenon involving anomalous coordinate behavior among various species of birds. So it's some sort of bird trait among us, eh?
It's some kind of birdemic.
Yeah, I know.
SCP-4041 events begin as ordinary flocks. The flock will stay close to the ground, often generating large clouds of dust or dirt. High-speed cameras trained on SCP-4041 events have detected small groups of birds within the flock, attaching their wingtips together to form rings, before dispersing again in a very short burst of light.
Birdnado.
Oh shit.
Observation
Birds
of
aren't
the
real,
event
they're all cameras.
has not shown any inherent pattern in these lights. I'm just going to take the shot, you know, too much.
What?
Excavation of the ground beneath the SCP events will often, approximately 70%, uncover various dinosaur fossils. Rarely, this will occur even in locations previously shown to be completely excavated for fossils. Fossils discovered after the events are always the theropod dinosaurs, often which is so
I will not bully you for not knowing these.
I
will.
won't.
Big into dinosaurs. These are tough names.
I wouldn't bully anyone for that either.
It's Coelurosaurians, Archaeopteryx, Struthiomimus, and Tyrannosaurus Rex.
What the fuck is...
Yep.
Okay.
I only know this because I was a dinosaur boy. I played Fossil Fighters. I was cool.
Oh my god, yes, fossil fighters.
The variety and quantity of the fossils increase with the number of birds in the SCP flock. Fossils located via the SCP appear non-anomalous. They exhibit a high degree of preservation and detail, with feather imprints and skulls often intact. All fossils match generally accepted taxonomic timelines. 11 new species and 17 new subspecies have been tentatively accepted by Foundation paleontologists.
So what I'm hearing is bird dinosaurs are a result of this SCP, and the dinosaurs we know and love are legit. I'm loving it.
Truly.
Dash 1 is considered translucent, class-free incorporeal entities, and resemble theropod dinosaurs in various states of decomposition. All instances of visible skin lack feathers.
Alright. I don't mind doing the obnoxious timeline if you want to finish off
this guy hates
whoever didn't read
charts.
the logs. Oh wait, actually this is a lot of logs. I just realized it's collapsibles. Oh, there's a big overview. Okay.
This guy hates reading.
I do. I fucking hate reading. I hate reading. I'll say this: I hate reading out loud. If the words are broken up and we're reading in my head, not that bad. Or especially with pictures like a manga. But if it's like these giant blocks of text, my brain is just like
I love reading out loud. I have my mic set to hardware loop my sound back into my ears because I love my voice so much.
Damn.
You see, he says that as a joke. He says that, but mine feedbacks into my ears too. Let's just make sure I'm not fucking up.
That's just to make sure I'm,
I wish I could hear mine feedback into my ears. You guys gotta teach me how to set that up. But like,
I will say, a specific hardware button for it.
Like, software.
People always talk about hating to hear their voice recorded back, and I used to be that way. But once you do it for like a living, like you do it on a regular basis, you learn to love your voice. It's just because when you do it sparingly, you're like, "Oh man, that's what I sound like." But once you hear it like a million times over, you're like, "Yeah, that's what I sound like."
Yeah.
There's also a go ahead, Powercore.
Oh, it's what you record yourself on too, because most people when they just hear themselves back casually might be on a phone, might be on some random microphone. When you have to tween your voice and manipulate it to sound the way you want it to sound, I'm pretty happy with how I sound.
There's also the aspect of like when you're talking to when you're talking out loud, like you're not hearing yourself speaking directly. Your mind is translating a more neutral tone version of it. Like you're always creating this sort of neutral expectation in your head of it. That when you hear it without that expectation, it just is like, that's what I actually sound like. All right.
Yep. All right. So timeline. I stalled enough. We gotta get this done so Tan can go to bed. He has work. 1861. Friedrich Witt and Karl Haberlin discovered the first Archaeopteryx skeleton unearthed in Germany, later suspected to be an occurrence of SCP-4041 due to the mentions made in Haberlin's journal of the great and peculiar flocks of birds seen that day. 1859 to 1863. British biologist Thomas Huxley learns of the recently discovered Archaeopteryx and becomes an ardent proponent of the possibility of an evolutionary relationship between dinosaurs and birds. 04/16/1944. Collateral damage during bombing of Munich in World War II destroys rare Spinosaurus fossils suspected to be compromised by 4041. Surviving photographs and journals edited. So here's another thing, Tan. With SCP, the whole premise is like humanity can't handle the anomalies, like knowing about them. But this, just like the theory that dinosaurs are birds, does that really need to be disproven? Like, is this really a mind-shattering anomaly?
Vehemently, yes.
I think it's more the aspect of, because, like, to me, it's not so
much
much that
doing a magical ritual. I think is the important bit.
That's it. And in general, I don't think anomalies are necessarily things that we can't handle. It's just things that cannot be explained, and so it's better to keep them out of the general public, so you don't get conspiracy theories and all this other stuff that start popping up, that start messing with society and start messing with culture. So even if it,
look at Parawatch. Am I right?
I mean, we have a thing going on right now globally that is creating all sorts of conspiracy theories, even though we can explain it completely. So, like, birds making circles.
Yeah.
Alien birds making circles. We don't want them worshipping birds, all right? They should only be worshipping the god emperor of mankind.
The bird cult. Oh, the bird cult.
All right. February 17th, 1971. Birds involved in the most recent 4041 events sustained severe, often fatal injuries during event, usually bite marks, dismemberment, blunt trauma, or complete crushing. 8/26/1996, 4041 event leads to civilian discovery and publishing of Sinosauropteryx, the first publicly documented feathered dinosaur. First instance of birds sustaining injuries outside of the duration of the event. 1/19/2002, Dr. Pascal Godefroy, a Belgian paleontologist, sustained similar bite injuries after publishing an article describing dinosaur fur phylogeny. He is hospitalized and claims to have seen incorporeal dinosaur-like entities. After Godefroy's recovery, he is amnesticized, and the cover story of a car accident is disseminated. 9/15/2004, 4041 event ends prematurely due to death of all birds present during event. Cameras detect a translucent silhouette resembling a Tyrannosaurus rex, designated 4041-1. 2/13/2006. So these birds are like ritual dying and becoming dinosaurs?
I guess they're ritual dying and modifying the dinosaur fossils, and one guy seeing it seems to have had unusual effects. You were not meant to see bird coats.
My assumption with the ethereal incorporeal entities is that whatever they're doing, something else doesn't like it and is attacking them for it. Like they're creating,
and that's why they get injuries.
Entities lack feathers.
Ghost dinosaurs.
So the dinosaurs are defending their own heritage, something like that. It's like, we're not birds, damn it.
I love that.
Something like that.
4041-1 instances destroy several museum displays and theropod fossils. 7/01/2009, 4041-1 instances manifest within a Foundation Paleontology Conference, injuring 22 before MTF Phi-2, Clever Girls, and MTF Mu-13, Ghostbusters, arrive on the scene. I think that is what it is. Ghosts of dinosaurs fucking with birds. I love it.
Mm.
My guess is we're going to find out that this is like they were giving a conference on, like, maybe birds actually are related to dinosaurs. And the dinosaurs are like, no, fuck you guys. Stop it. You're supposed to be helping us.
Should I read both access logs or one or the other?
Well, the second one's an interview, so you'll need multiple people.
I was going to say, you do the incident log, and then we'll do the access, the interview. It looks like we need 2 people for the interview log, so 2 of us pick up the interview.
At 1614, 4 MTF Phi PHI or Phi?
Phi.
Phi-2 agents arrive on the scene and enter from the back of the conference room. 3 instances of SCP-4041-1 are present. 2 indistinct velociraptors, when 1 Diphyrturoris. A large 10-meter-long ostrich-like dinosaur. The raptors have been
Dinoctorus, by the way. That's a tough one.
Dinoctorus. Okay. The raptors have bitten 5 of the researchers already, while the Dinoctorus stands over 1 attendee. Phi-2 agents fire at the raptors, to no effect. Phi-2 leader charges the raptors, flanked by her teammates, and vocally imitates Tyrannosaurus roars to challenge them. The raptors retreat. Site-wide evacuation commences.
1620.
God, I love this. Based 1620.
1620, the raptors call to the Dinoctorus.
Wait,
It crouches
hold
over
on.
the prone attendee.
1620, isn't that 420, boys?
Oh man!
Well, if only I had air
we need
horns. I probably do, but I can't volume them properly.
You know what we need right now? We need a mosquito coil so we can blaze it.
Hell yes. Fuck yes, blazing on the mosquito coil.
God, lighting up smoking mosquito coils. Ugh. The Dinoctorus is over the prone attendee, identified as Dr. Karina Barrera, and then joins the raptors. 1622, the Dinoctorus charges, knocks over one agent, and swats the other with its tail. Several attendees are trampled. 1627, one raptor solidifies to bite one attendant on the leg. An agent shoots its head, the raptor screeches and disintegrates in a cloud of purple smoke. 1631, the Dinoctorus attempts to flee, picking up Dr. Barrera and carrying her on its back. She got a free ride. 1633, Mu-13 agents arrive and neutralize the remaining raptor instance using spectral weaponry. Phi-2 leader recommends capture of the Dinoctorus. 1632, following setup by Mu-13 agents, Phi-2 agents use dinosaur calls to herd the Dinoctorus into the Chalice-class spectral containment ring, which activates and successfully contains the instance. They just Ghostbuster this shit.
Ghostbuster the dinosaur ghost.
Literally, Mu-13 are the Ghostbusters.
Yep. Following treatment of all injuries and subsequent moving of the SCP-1 Dinoctorus to a permanent containment cell, Dr. Barrera was interviewed. So we have an interview log.
So we need an agent Angelica Iglesias and a Dr. Karina Barrera.
So I'll do Iglesias, just because I like the ancient.
Chan, do you want to be Barrera or should I?
Maybe you should. I can't do a good voice right now.
Yeah.
Oh, baby Tanhony has to be quiet. Okay,
I'll be
okay, I'm gonna cut your head off from this range.
How can you? You can't even make that much noise.
You're right, I can't reach down that far.
Okay. We're not friends anymore. Friendship ended with Tanhony. Now
Friendship
I'm joining
over.
Force and Power on their podcast. I'm done
Sweet.
with Discovering SCP.
3-person. You can talk with Jackrabbit with us. It'll be a nice surprise.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, it'll be a 4-person.
Awesome.
I avoided saying the word force, and now I do.
I was about to say it too. But
all right. So, state your name for the record.
Dr. Karina Maria Pereira Campagna. I messed up at the end there.
Lucius places a large file folder on the table. How's your
arm?
Oh, wrong person. That was you.
How's your arm?
Just a scratch. Look, Karina, let's get through this. Right now, I want to know exactly what went down at the conference.
Ghost dinosaurs. Not the weirdest thing in our world.
Come on. I've read the 4041 documentation. I know there's ghost dinosaurs. What I want to know is how you got through without a scratch, while 16 other people have Jurassic Park scars.
Jigs up, I guess.
What the hell did you do?
Right. So remember that paper I published in 2007? The one about ornithomimoids and striations on their arms and wing anchoring bones?
Yeah, of course. I read all your stuff.
Yeah. Okay, so that wasn't all me.
I know you're not a plagiarist, Karina. Get to the point.
Okay. 3 weeks before the submission deadline, I had a dream.
I had a dream. Sorry.
I dreamed of a Dinoctorus and a Gallimimus and a couple others. They showed up in my room, but they weren't ghostly at all. They were fully fleshed out. Most vibrant colored scales I'd ever seen. Not a single feather on them.
Right. And this fever dream inspired you to crank out that paper?
See, they stood different, looked different. Nothing about them fit the standard model. I went back into our database and cross-referenced the records, but ignored all fossils associated with 4041. What I ended up with didn't look like the standard model at all. They looked like the things in my dream.
Wait, so what are you saying?
Doesn't it strike you as just a little suspicious how perfect the 4041 fossils are? They're too well preserved. You got feather imprints on a Troodon in the same formation as a single fragmented Triceratops foot. It's like a murder scene with a fingerprinted gun left behind with a confession note.
I mean, there's plenty of other ways to explain it.
Yeah, that's what I thought too. So I decided to test it. I got to work publishing articles critical of the standard model. And you know what happened? Every time I exposed a flaw, someone found an answer. Sternum not the right shape to support a transition? Next 4041 fossil. There it is.
Why? Why would anyone do something like this? Who would want to create an entirely false fossil record?
You're gonna think I'm crazy.
At this point, I don't think anything is too crazy.
I think it's the birds.
Dun,
End
dun,
log.
dun.
Dr. Barrera died 2 days later in a car accident when she collided head-on with a semi-trailer truck. Investigation scene found a velociraptor skull in the car's trunk.
So what I'm hearing is the dinosaurs didn't attack her because they were like defending her because she was supporting them, but then the birds got her ass.
Oh, so the birds were clearly there trying to do something, and the dinosaurs showed up.
Yeah,
to,
and the ghost
her.
dinosaurs are fighting them off. Yep.
Oh,
honestly, this story is both hilarious. This is like both a funny story, but also I'm a huge dinosaur guy, so I just adore this a lot. You guys should upvote it so we can get it to 200. It's just like
I should make an account. I have been reading these for like a decade and have not made an account. Yeah. I like step in and browse them for like a couple days a month and just like pick pieces out. I'm like, this is really cool. I'm gonna make a D&D thing in it. This is really cool. I'm gonna make a D&D. That's kind of what inspired me to like talk to PowerCore about making this. I'm like, I do this all the fucking time for my actual campaign, so why not?
Might as well. Sadly, I'm not a member, so it won't let me.
Damn.
Yep. So I will have to make an account at some point, but
it's not hard to be a member. You just got to put in a little password, wait like 3 days for an admin to accept you, and you're in.
Oh damn! Huh.
Yep.
Okay, then I
as
guess
long
it's
as you don't do anything
period.
fucked up, like downvote spree or whatever, like be an asshole. That's all you really got to do.
Well, time to go on a downvote spree. Beep, 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 beep.
I mean,
So
even if you
why
go on a
don't you have
downvote
a-
spree,
I was gonna make you. So why don't you have an account yet? Oh, I did. I got banned. Now I have a reason not
about
to.
that. Yeah, I've got one.
did.
I've only written one fucking tale, and it's not even a very good tale.
Oh,
Actually, what was the tale that you wrote? Maybe
I just
we
thought
can
of
feature it
Milton.
next
It was
time.
about cryptocurrency. Funny enough, it all comes full circle. I
Wait
also
a
wrote an
second.
SCP, but it got downvoted off the wiki and became a big controversy in its own right. But I didn't get to make a comeback.
I
Like
don't think it's the one we read, PowerCore, because the one we read
Okay,
was
'cause we did
specifically
read one about
NPC and
NFTs.
NFTs.
You probably read the Vikander Need NFT one
Yep.
by Lord.
Yep.
I would guess. Yep.
Yep.
Yeah, mine is. I'll link it to you guys. We don't have time to read it, but it's
course.
cryptocurrency and its consequences. I'm pretty proud of it.
Right.
Oh,
And
sorry,
on this-
SCP. I don't want a million academic articles. There we go.
That's a good point. You type that in without SCP in front, you're probably going to get a million academic articles.
Bit of a
There
different
you go.
context.
It's just
All
a tale, pretty simple one.
So why don't we
But I
go
like it.
do,
People seem to enjoy it.
before we wrap up, do a quick round table and people present random dinosaur or ghost
So
dinosaur
my
or
very-
bird dinosaur ideas.
My very first idea
whatever.
is, you know, in Skyrim, how there's like the two armies you can join for like the Civil War in Skyrim.
Uh-huh.
You like get
I
a quest
already
option where you can join the ghost dinosaurs or the birds and like fight for them and like wage war over time to try and like either let the bird dinosaurs win or the OG ones win.
Your
It's a
funniest
fucking
thing,
RPG. You have to talk to the bird NPC correspondent, the ghost dinosaur one. There are,
Yeah.
of course, the romance options.
They all
funniest-
talk like
excuse me.
Banjo Kazooie characters, so like the text is real words, but it's like rah 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 or squawk squawk.
the funniest thing about this is you could do this pretty easily without making it too, like, you could like do this in D&D without making it too like
There are
Weird
dinosaurs
ones.
in D&D. You can use
Jerky.
dinosaur
but like
statues.
as NPCs, you could just do like lizard folk and dragonborn
Versus
on one side with like
Yeah.
various
Aarakocra
illusionists and
and-
stuff
versus
Aarakocra
Aarakocra
and Kenku and stuff like that.
what are the crow people? Kenkus?
Kenku, yep.
Yeah, Aarakocra and Kenku versus
One of-
Dragonborn and Lizard.
One of our
folk.
party's best friends right now is a Kenku, sort of.
Aw. I adore Kenkus, but you have to roleplay them a very specific way, and that specific way is not like an insane person.
The funny thing about
It's
Kenkus,
easy to roleplay Kenku. You just do funny bird voice.
the funny thing about
No.
Kenkus is like a lot of people think about Kenkus, oh, you can only say what you've heard, but the thing is, Kenkus can mimic any noise.
Yeah.
And so,
Exactly.
like, I've seen, I saw an article at one point which inspired me, which is what inspired this character actually, about a guy.
It's
who,
like where they tap to like say yes, like a clicking, or they
Well,
use noises that they would hear.
that, but it's also they cast spells by literally reenacting, like with their mouth, speaking languages that they don't understand to cast the spells and stuff like that, or like they'll mimic sounds of like the environment to like tell details of where they were trapped and stuff like that.
Exactly.
And so it's like you got to play into that as well.
And that's what you should do as a Kenku, is like, you can do the funny voices when you're talking, but like, if you do something like that, be like, describe the clicking, be like, oh, he clicks to signify he's routing, going, and expecting your party to know what the fuck that means.
Yep. You gotta explain yourself. There's a little bit of like suspension of disbelief. You've got to be like, assume everyone has a certain amount of insight into this character's, what they're trying to say, and allow them to communicate.
Absolutely.
And thus you can
Kenkus
translate
are fun, and I adore them. Tan, you didn't play Kenku, you played an Eric Croker, which is different. He also played an Eric Croker war criminal who like genocided a bunch of clown people.
He was also funny and talked like this.
He probably had like a family member who was slaughtered by the Iron Bands of Bobble. And
I was gonna say they're probably justified knowing Bobo.
No, he was like, so
Exactly.
there was this whole plot about, like, there was these clown people, which was one of the party members, and basically the Eric Croker were, like, they'd taken his kids and raised to be, like, soldiers for the human kingdom, so, like, he didn't know any better, and he just was, like, this agent of death that the clown people feared, but then he repented, he, like, became a paladin, he learned better, he made friends with one of these clown people. He's different now, but like there would be like these clown people that would see him and be horrified because they would recognize him as like this awful war criminal that like murdered their families. And he'd be like, "No, I'm just Bird Boy.
I'm
good now. Don't worry about it."
Yeah, exactly. They would call him like the Eagle of Doom or something. I don't remember the name, or Hawk of Doom. It was insane.
Not like Doom Goal.
Yeah, it was pretty fucked up.
I do like Oath of Redemption paladins when they were previously war criminals, so that way they still function properly.
Moving onward, Tanhony, do you have any ideas?
I think it could be a thing like an ongoing, like you accidentally come into some evidence of the true dinosaurs, and then from then on, birds are sabotaging everything you fucking do.
like the fucking the mark of sacrifice in Berserk. Like every night you have to fight off the birds.
Like you and your party like walking across a mountain, like boulders roll, like almost crush you. You look up and just there's one bird standing there.
Yeah.
They're increasingly stronger champions. One day you get a goal.
Caca roar, caca roar.
The rock like almost completely crushes your arm, barely misses, and they're like, they don't call it an eagle-eyed view for nothing.
Oh no, they make puns too.
Yeah.
Oh, birds of a feather.
Sorry, I can give you the bird, but we can't allow you to live.
They ram into the back of your head. Looks like I'm winning it now.
That's worse than the attacks, I think.
I'm so disappointed in myself right now because usually I'm the pun guy and like I want to join in, but you keep grabbing them right before I say.
Sorry, I didn't mean to ruffle your feathers.
Damn it! I was gonna say
I was
that.
literally about to say that as well. Oh God, this is. There's a pecking order here. We have to keep it. We have to keep it established. All right.
Brilliant. We have it.
You're slowly killing me with these puns. I just hope you all appreciate this.
That's all right. We'll stop. It's starting to go a bit foul. All right, there we go.
Yeah.
I got to it. I feel better.
Oh man, this isn't all it's cracked up to be.
It was more of an egg pun, but I'll allow it.
But yeah, Power, you got any ideas?
I'm leaving. That's my idea. All right, you've killed me with these puns.
I'm walking out of here. Oh God, he's gone. No. Fuck.
He's done this before. He'll be back. We'll get to my idea for now.
Guys, Power's gone. Upload malware to the system. Let's go.
I heard that.
Oh shit.
So my idea was actually again going back to summonings and spells and like the dichotomy of these. You create a set of spells for a group, which are based around creating phantasmal creatures, and then pit this group against like a group of artificers who create mechanical constructs, playing with the birds or cameras things, that are their like soldiers and drones that they fly and pilot. So you have
there was some shit in Tasha's, I think, for like summoning animals or creatures like that you could use.
One of my players utilizes it a lot. He's a druid and he loves summoning stuff. So
nice.
And anybody who says you can't give a druid a pet companion, I've done it and it's going fine. So go screw yourself and grow up and be a
You can give someone a pet companion, just like make sure the party knows if there's ever an animal. One, you're not going to go out of your way to kill them, but two, don't just send them out into the middle of an army and expect the DM to spare them because they're your pet. Like
their animal companion is a beast aberration that is kind of like a sentient rock, mossy rock with vines and shit. Because the whole premise the whole premise of my campaign setting is there was at some point something that happened which separated sort of like this land of floating islands called Alms from the beneath with this magical plasma of every form of magic available. So above, everybody's like, it was just like a human world before. Above, everybody's just kind of like humanoids. There's nothing like, they're very homogenous. Homogenous? Is that a word, I think?
Mm-hmm. That's not the word you're probably looking for, but they're genetically homogenous.
Yeah, they're all very similar with
Are you looking
very
for
wildly
homologous?
different. Potentially. Regardless, they all look alike. Basically, it's a bunch of
I think
fucking...
you're using homologous if you're talking about biology and evolution. Homologous is having the same position structure, but they're not necessarily like the same thing. So, like a cat arm and a bat wing, etc.
So something like, well, the idea is they're all humanoids. There's nothing like hugely unique about them. Whereas beneath, they've been like rained magic on for millennia and have all developed magical traits and aspects and characteristics, and like varying cultures because of that. And so you've got a bunch of different Tarask style creatures that are each linked with a different school of magic, and you've got a bunch of each of the creatures down there has like different colorations to their pattern, natural magics and stuff like that. And so this is one of those things of like, this was found in an ancient lab from before all this happened, as it was originally an experiment of some kind, and potentially a clue as to why things became the way they were. And the party freed him, and he just kind of like came along with them because they were nice to him, and they gave him sunlight, which he needed, and a whole bunch of stuff. And the druid has a trait as part of his, like one of my custom traits.
He's Dr. Doolittle.
More polite to him. They like him a little bit more, any beast things. So,
I do enjoy actually, I thought you were talking about his little turtle pet, the one that he turns into a Tarask quite often.
That's a he doesn't turn it into a Tarask.
Wait, not Tarask, the other thing, you know.
That's very different. Yeah. That's his familiar. He has a familiar that he can summon.
But for this story, I'm thinking a large-scale espionage campaign, and I guess a fun interpretation could be that, like, the birds are going back in time and messing with dinosaurs, and that's why they're altering their genomes. So it's kind of a time espionage thing. You're trying to uncover a crime that already happened, and people keep going back in time, slowly changing the time, but you are a constant, so you're not affected.
What was the Skyrim mod?
I would love to play that.
There was a Skyrim mod that did something like this, where you had to go back in time to a past thing to figure out what happened to cause the destruction of the city, and then like do something to get a treasure in the current time. And
I want to say
made it
Fallout
into
did this too.
And that's just it. I think they made it in Fallout as well, but they also made it their own, like, its own game. Like, it's on Steam now as its own game, and it's like a hugely like popular. It's like one of the most popular questing mods of all time. So
it's definitely a solid one. But yeah, time espionage. I think we did everyone give an idea? We went around the table.
Went around. We got a few ideas here.
Yep. I say we might need to call it because we're nearing 2 hours, and Tan was supposed to be in bed like more than a half hour ago. Poor guy. That's why he's not talking at all. He's like dead inside.
That's what I was about to say. I think we're going to call it here for today. If you've enjoyed anything you've heard here, if you've enjoyed our fans, well, you're our fans now, I've said it. If you enjoyed our friends here, Darnell, why don't you, so Tanhony can continue to rest his eyes, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself and where you come from? What you guys do? Sure.
So as far as SCP is concerned, the whole premise of my podcast with Tanhony, I've been friends with him for a long time. We met actually role-playing, funny enough. But basically, eventually we reconnected a couple years back, and during the pandemic, he was like, hey, I want to do a YouTube thing. You know, like those videos where people introduce their mom or their grandma to anime or whatever, where I introduce you to SCP. Because you know I'm a big SCP guy. And by the way, I knew Tim was always involved with SCP, but it was very vague. I didn't realize he was like a big deal until after we started the podcast. Everyone's like, OMG Tanhony! Oh, and Tanhony's friend. But like, I didn't realize he was like this big name. But I was like, yeah, sure, we could do that. That'll be fun. And that's how I kind of got into it. And we started making other content. I am a writer. I love role playing. My day job is IT, and I like anime and manga a lot. That's why I never shut the fuck up about it. And that's basically it for me.
That's fine. Yeah, that's Discovering SCP is the podcast that you guys do.
Yes, absolutely.
Is how I came about you guys, because I watched literally all of your episodes. Well, I say watched. I listened to them on Spotify while I was working.
Nice.
because I was in one of my moods of like, oh, I want to like find some more SCPs, but I don't have a lot of time, so I'm just going to listen to a new podcast about SCPs while I work. And so you guys got to introduce me to some SCPs I hadn't read before, because Tanhony has some really interesting and awesome tastes. Mm-hmm. So I know it's a lot more casual than like Exploring Series, which is the other one that I listen to all the time. So, right. So, and they both fit.
They definitely, it hurts our SEO sometimes when you look up Discovering SCP, you get Exploring SCP. I also didn't realize that was a series till after we made it, and I was like, Tan, why the fuck did you name it Discovering SCP? We're like basically biting their bit, and he's like, it's fine.
That's fine. Exploration and discovery are two sides of the same coin. They're not exactly the same thing. It's important that you have both. So, you know.
And it brings the data, don't you understand? Brings the views up.
And they say I'm the clout chaser. Everyone recently keeps saying I'm a freaking clout chaser because I made like 5 jokes about clout, and it's driving me nuts. Someone even on the stream was accusing me.
I am not even going to lie. I am a clout chaser. I 100% invited you guys on because you're more popular than us.
Damn, this guy's a whore.
But also, like, we'll talk about it after I end, so Tanhony can go.
Yeah, Tan needs to go to bed like forever ago.
Yeah, so
good.
Thank you guys so much for coming out. As always, you guys are awesome. Stay awesome and have an awesome night. My name is Forrest.
We'd love to have you on our podcast sometime when our guests are a little less booked up.
That's Darnell.
Of course.
And Power.
I'm Tanhony.
That's Tanhony, or I'm Power. Who are we introducing? We didn't script this part.
I was doing the outro.
I'm Grimbo.
Thank you guys very much for coming out. We're going to be heading off.
Holy shit, you're Grimbo? Stay tuned for the post-credit scene that'll never come when the stream goes down.
I'm Bubble the